Women in Sport podcast with Thato Nkadimeng. You're listening to the podcast Her Game, and I am Jo Mountford from Perform. Today we're talking with Thato, a young lady who is studying and playing rugby for Tuks University. We discuss the stigma around rugby and being a female and possible ways to reduce the gender pay gap. We also discuss period poverty and breast health in sportswomen. Stay tuned to listen to this incredible young lady. But before we dive into our conversation, I want to take a moment to highlight the themes central to this podcast series. We all recognize the evolving landscape of women in sports and the opportunities that are emerging. However, several critical topics require our attention, including body health, goal setting, mental health challenges, the unique experiences of women in sports, the gender pay gap, and the issues of sexual abuse and harassment. We'll explore these significant topics, as well as the vital role of women in sports, the contribution of trailblazers and strategies for planning life after sports. This podcast aims to give women a platform to share their journeys and to inspire others. I recently reached out on LinkedIn to invite a diverse group of women to join me in sharing their stories, and I was pleasantly overwhelmed by the positive responses I received. I am excited to bring you these insightful conversations in the near future. And if you're interested in developing your mindset and enhancing your mental strength, be sure to visit the Perform website. There you'll find resources such as links to monthly groups for athletes, parents, and officials, as well as online coaching options, assessments through Clifton Strengths, and Zoom links to book your coaching sessions with me, Jo Mountford.
Hi, Thato, and thank you so much for joining the Her Game podcast. I really appreciate you joining us and being able to share your story.
Thank you for having me.
No, that's such a great pleasure. The first question I'm going to ask you is to tell us a little bit about you, about your background, about how you got into rugby, maybe share what position you play and which club or team or whatever you're playing for. So over to you.
Okay, well, I started playing rugby in 2023. I think I was in grade 10. So at the high school that I used to go to, one of my teachers used to play provincial rugby in Limpopo. And she did a presentation on it at school, and she wanted to start her team for women's rugby because at my high school there was only boys rugby. So I was like, that's very interesting. I'd like to join. And she introduced me to one of the coaches at Maragon High School in Waitloof. They already had a rugby team at that time for the ladies. So I used to train with them, and at my high school as well, I used to train with the boys there. And then I think the next year, that's when I found out that the Tuks youth rugby was a thing. So there used to be a club where I think it was under 18s and under 15s or under 16s. And then the coach was Coach Nick. He was actually my first rugby coach, and he's one person that really inspires me and really motivates me even now. So I joined his club and I played there grade 11, grade 12 as well, until I got to university first year last year. And last year I joined the senior team, the Tuks Women's Rugby 15th team. And yeah, that's how I started off. I didn't think I'd be playing rugby now. I just joined for fun or like for me to be fit. But then over the years, I grew passion for it and I actually started enjoying it. And when I understood how the game worked, that's when I decided I'd want to play rugby when I get to university as well.
Fantastic. So what position do you play?
I play wing and scrum half. Well, yeah,
Okay.
I'm transitioning to that, but primarily I play wing.
And I'm going to ask you a question that I'm sure many girls stroke women think about. Like, was there any fear involved in getting hurt or being tackled or?
Surprisingly not. I wasn't scared of getting hurt or anything like that. I wasn't scared of getting tackled. I think I just liked it. I think growing up, I never liked sports that were mainly for girls, like netball or I don't know. I always played sports that were for boys or that are seen as boy sports. Like I used to play football in high school as well. So I was never scared of getting hurt or anything like that. But until recently, I got an ACL injury and a meniscus injury. So yeah, when I got the injury, I was very positive about it. I wasn't telling myself, oh no, I'm going to be hurt and be out for long. And I think that really helped with my recovery as well, because I'm almost going to start my running recovery for my ACL injury. So yeah.
That is amazing because, the reality is when every athlete gets injured and it's what you do in that downtime, to continue, but maybe develop other skills that you wouldn't have
Mm.
time for during your training season. So you say your rugby coach at school inspired you, your teacher who played rugby inspired you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you just think about younger girls like yourself, do you think playing sport has changed the trajectory of your life, as in being involved in a team sport or being part of a team or having the commitments of regular practice and matches? Tell me what you think about that. Do you think it's, yeah,
Yeah, I think it does give you discipline because like you know how to plan your day. Like, okay, in the morning I'm gonna go to gym and then I have class after that, and then after class there's training in the afternoon. So it really does give you that discipline to plan out your day and also you know what to focus on. Like I know I have schoolwork, I know I have training later on. So you don't really think about anything else outside of that. Yeah, I think it just makes you more disciplined in your life as well. And outside of that, like I don't know what to say. Like
no, I tell you why, because I met a lady the other day and she started a little football club. And
Mhm.
and she said she's helped girls get off the streets and stay away from drugs and falling pregnant and all that type of thing. Um, so that's just it. Yeah, I'm just saying that that's one of the upsides. But you say that you like to play boy sports. So from a young age, you would have been playing sports with like football, etc., with boys. But then as you got a bit older and kind of headed into puberty, what happens is the boys started seeing girls in a different light. Did you
Mm.
experience that? Were you treated differently? Have you had any
Uh,
challenges like that?
no, because when I grew up in my high school, we did have a girls' team for football. So
Okay.
I trained with the boys for rugby, but then for football, I used to play with the girls. But then, yeah, I think I grew up loving sports as well. I wasn't very athletic at first because I only started playing sports around grade 9, I think. I started with swimming, but then I didn't like swimming at all. So I switched to football and also used to do athletics in high school as well. Yeah.
But now athletics, you must have been quite quick.
Yeah. I used to do long distance running and hurdles as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
because
that
as a wing, you're going to be quick. So
yeah, you have to be quick. So I think that's when I developed my speed as well. I was like, oh, okay, I can actually be a faster runner.
yeah. And just remind me, you play for Tux University.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the highest level you've played yet?
So far I've played under 20 competition. It's like a provincial competition where different teams from different provinces compete. But then the last year, unfortunately, I didn't make the Blue Bulls team. But I did play as the invitational team. It was like the Barbarians, basically.
Okay. And do you have aspirations to play for the Blue Bulls again?
It wasn't like a professional. It was just like an under 20 level, like a junior level. But
Okay.
then I think in the future, would I want to be a professional athlete? I don't think so, but I'd still want to be in the sports industry, like maybe work as a sports agent or maybe in the sports media.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. But so I think what's amazing for you to say is that enjoyment is such a key part of why you play rugby.
Mm.
And it's not ultimately about being a professional or making a profession out of what you're doing, is that being part of a team is invaluable, isn't it? How have you found that, being part of a women's team and competing and having highs and lows?
Yeah, I mean, at first when I started, it was a bit of a struggle transitioning from being a junior to playing as a senior. Also last year I went through a lot of things. Like I lost my mom as well in the beginning of the year. So it was
Oh,
kind of tough for me, because I'd go to training and, sometimes you're not motivated. So it was kind of hard transitioning from that. But then throughout the year, I started being confident in myself again, and a lot of my teammates helped me in that. So I think playing as a team is very beneficial because you have people that support you and they want to see you happy. They want to see you shine as well. So I'm very grateful to my teammates, to my coaches, everyone who helped me when I was going through everything last year. Yeah.
and did the club have they got mental health support for like a trauma like that? Are there those facilities available?
Yeah, at the University of Pretoria there is.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily go through the club to go see like a therapist or anything, but in the university I did go and see a psychologist, which really helped me a lot to get through everything.
Okay. Okay. So the courage to ask somebody for help is huge. So congratulations for that. And then I agree with you. If you feel safe within a system like your team, for people just to they don't have to say anything. It's just to be there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just knowing that somebody's there when your chips are really down, like losing your mum.
Yeah.
Oh,
They they did really help me through a lot. Like I don't think I would have made it through the year without some of my teammates and most of my coaches also encouraging me that everything will work out in the end, and it did work out.
yeah, yeah. And missing her is part of your life's journey, and it's just how you manage that.
Mm.
So that's that. Thank you for sharing that honestly. Then I want to ask you if you had to think of the grassroots players, so the younger girls, South African girls who who are coming through the system, do you think a mentoring program, like how would you help them? What would you say to them? How would you encourage them? Or what are the challenges that they could be facing in order to stay in sport? Because that's my huge focus is how do we keep girls in sport?
I think yeah, a mentoring program would be a great idea, especially for athletes like us who play maybe like university level or professional athletes like let's say for example like Libby. I know Libby the Springbok. She is a very influential player in South African rugby as well, and that's who I also take inspiration from. So maybe mentoring programs, talking about challenges in women's sports. I know, like, for me, for myself, people would never think that I play rugby, which is weird because it's still a sport. It's still a sport that ladies can also play in.
So what is it about the rugby? Is it because you're small, or what is it that is it that? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like people look at me and like, oh, you play rugby. Oh, I thought you played football. But it's like, oh, guys, just because I'm small, you think that I can't do this or I'm not strong enough.
Yeah, they say dynamite comes in small packages. So you like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Like if you look at Cheslin Kobe, he's like the smallest in the team. But
yeah.
so
And
I
there's the
think,
courage of a lion. Okay, so there's that. So that's the kind of the stigma that people think, A, you're a woman, and B, you're small. So those are the
yeah,
two things.
yeah.
Okay. And there's a topic about breast health that people don't necessarily talk about or are not aware of. So the men get out and play rugby, and they operate in the bodies that they operate in. And then comes women, and we have our periods and our bodies change shape. And during our menstrual cycle, we have different levels of energy. And then we've got different sized breasts. And if we get tackled hard, it's going to hurt. Or if they're heavy and the bra doesn't support, it hurts. Is there any support? How's the word? Support for breast health within that you've come across within the rugby system?
So far, I don't think I've come across anything that supported breast health, but I think for me, it's something that I'm also passionate about because that's how I lost my mom. She had breast cancer for about 5 years,
Oh.
5 to 6 years. So I think it's something that women's sports should also start focusing more on, like encouraging ladies to go and check their breasts for anything. Like you never know what could happen. And the sad thing about breast cancer as well is that it can affect anyone with any age now. So I think that's something that we should start encouraging more, supporting breast cancer awareness month as well. I think that was the one thing I was very huge on. And also that's the reason why I wear pink. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, I love
I'm
it.
wearing
Yes.
a pink headband. And my boots as well also have pink bows. I think a lot of the things that I own are pink, and that is in honor of my mom and also in support of breast
Oh,
cancer.
darling, that's incredible. You see, I mean, I get absolute goosebumps. It's you carrying her legacy in
Yeah,
a very positive way.
yeah.
That is incredible. Okay, so we're going to get into this. We're going to help, we're going to try and reach as many people as we can so that we can talk about breast health for longevity, but also for playing. Like,
Yeah.
so that girls in the change room can say, like, how can we get like, bras that support us? Or if you get hit hard in the chest, is it okay to cry about it in the change room? Like, absolutely. You know, these are things that women face.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, is it something that you think could be possible if sponsors got on board? And I know in the UK, there's a lady who has started making bras. She actually gave one to Serena Williams. So it's for women who have big breasts, and it's to support them. The bra it goes across the chest instead of under. I mean, it goes under, but it also supports the top, so it keeps them stable as such. I mean, that's incredible that they're such innovative people. But yeah, it would be amazing if our ladies could get the same type of thing.
Yeah, I think as much as we support, let's say, I know there's a lady who made underwear for periods, and she advertised it during the USA's football last year.
Yeah,
So I think if we had an initiative like that for breasts as well, like designing bras for women for any size, because I know a lot of my teammates also have bigger breasts, so it's kind of a struggle when you're running that the bra that you're wearing doesn't support your breast or it's not strong enough to hold them. So
yeah.
I think that would be a great initiative to start. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, agree. And absolutely, because it hurts and it hurts shoulders and it's like it's uncomfortable. So if we
Mm.
can make the experience for women more comfortable, like, let's go. There's a gap in the market, whoever wants to make those bras.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I wanted to talk about is in order to keep girls in sport, some of the stuff that keeps them out of sport would be period poverty. So not having access to um, pads and tampons, etc., etc.
Mm.
Have you ever gone into a club or a rugby club where in the change rooms they've got that type of thing in the change rooms?
Like they got like tampons
That's
and
you.
pads and extras.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't think I've ever seen that, but like if someone needs like a tampon or a pad, I think one of our teammates would give them, or
Yeah.
I know I always have extras for people who need them. So yeah, I don't think I've ever
But what about if you think of the people that have maybe come out of a less privileged home, let's call it that, and they've been selected and they're brought up into a team, but they literally only have the sports clothes that the club gives them, etc. And sanitary products are something of a luxury.
Yeah.
Do they speak up about it? Is it a real thing?
Yeah, I think there has been instances where people would ask, maybe like let's say in our private group, guys, I need money for like pads, or I need money for tampons, or I need money for toiletries, and then there always is someone to help them in that instance. Yeah.
Okay. But it has to come from within the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's also good that they feel safe enough to ask us about something like that. So I think it is a good thing. Yeah.
And that's what, watching the Women's Rugby World Cup, it just felt so family. Women's rugby is so like the women together just look like they've got each other's back beyond the field. It's deeper than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think rugby as a sport, it just creates bonds that are beyond playing together on the field. I mean, there are like ups and downs, but I think also I saw with myself, I created sisters, I created bonds. I got people that will help me in anything. Like let's say if I call someone now, know that they'd have my back. Yeah.
A network of like-minded people.
Mm.
There are stats that show that women who play sport during school have got a better chance of employment than those who don't.
Really?
Yeah. So I think the chances are, they are more employable, let's call it that.
Mm.
I suppose it's because they're part of a team, they've learned to give, to sacrifice, to negotiate, to be accommodating, all of that, which are skills that are very much translatable in other areas. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's like a fun fact. I want to ask you, how do you feel about the representation of women in rugby and in sport in general? So I think my personal opinion is that Rugby World Cup has put women's rugby on the map in a huge way. That's in the UK and other countries. How do you feel about here?
I think also in South Africa, it's starting to go because obviously we've seen the Springboks playing in the World Cup, and it was a big thing. And I think more clubs in South Africa are starting to realize that this could be such a great initiative, like having more women's rugby teams.
Yeah.
And I think we also took inspiration from them as well, like teams that already existed, like for Tax, or let's say Matis or UWC. Like it is such a big inspiration to see people who already passed where you are right now, and they are professional athletes, and I know a lot of my teammates want to become professional athletes as well. So I think it was a big inspiration for South African women in rugby, is that we can also be at that level one day. And even if let's say for me, even if you don't want to be a professional athlete, but you can still have space in there for somehow to work in like media or behind the scenes, or it's not just about the athletes but also like the coaching staff and everyone who helped them come to that level as well, as that we can also be there, we can also be at that level, like the way you said in the UK, it's how the women's team is so big, like the Harlequins women's team, so we can also be there at that level one day. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, as you're talking, I'm thinking, as you said, the ladies that are ahead of you, or as in more years ahead of you, and maybe on a higher level, if one could develop mentors across there, and then a little system feeding down and then feeding down further, I just think it would support our women on another level, on so many levels, on personal growth, on skills, on safety, on dreams, dreams, on networking, on so many levels. So maybe that's something we need to think about.
Yeah.
And then what do you think can be done to encourage more girls to participate in rugby?
I think advertising it more, obviously, making it known that women can also play rugby as well. I think the unfortunate thing is that a lot of people don't support women's rugby in South Africa. They just think, oh, you guys are ladies, you guys can't do this. But then advertising it more, I know as athletes, we try to advertise it more, like let's say would have trials, and we try to invite people to come and trial at the clubs that we play for. So I think more advertisement, also on TV, like advertising the women's Springboks more, because we see the men more, they always getting sponsorships. But what about the women's team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know, when I watched and I watched our ladies, and I just thought, because I know what some of our South African women have gone through as people in underprivileged backgrounds. Some have gone through real trauma. Some have struggled with the basics like food safety and all of that. And as women, so that's the one thing. And then they get into a team like that. What has had to happen to get into that team is like, we will never understand that. But the grit, determination, the consistency, the drive, all of that to get there is on another level. Then the other thing is, our cultures aren't all the same. So as an African woman, you've got your culture, and then rugby is westernized. And so you're brought into a different culture, which is not the same. So as you come into a rugby team like that, and there's maybe a feeling of I don't belong. And I just think how incredible that team looked from the outside. They looked so cohesive. They looked like such a family. And I just thought, how amazing that they've got to where they are with the little resources that they've got. And if there were more resources and more support, I mean, amazing. Like, what do you think of that?
Yeah, like I think getting more sponsorship for the women's team would put them on a different level as well. And having that support from the country, and knowing that we can be big as the men's team as well. So I think more sponsorship, more partnerships, working with the ladies more would be great for them and elevate the game for also younger teams as well, or athletes that are looking to be in that space one day.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I think doing these podcasts with all these incredible people that have reached out to me, it's going to create a network. So just by us doing this and talking freely, we'll create a network. Like, I'm going to connect you to the lady I spoke to yesterday, who's based in the UK, and she is into creating events, but the media part of events. So the advertising and the getting the boards out there and getting the people on the boards and et cetera, et cetera. So that is something that sounds like it's something you'd be interested in having a conversation with her. Maybe you can get into an online meeting with her. So I'm hoping that having these support networks, that we can do that. Then another thing that I'm running this year, and I'd love you to be part of, is I'm running online support groups for athletes. And it's once a month, and the one is for athletes and the other one is for women. And you would come on, and they'll be themed. Every time it'll be themed. One might be social media, like looking after your social media. brand and the pros and cons of social media, putting yourself out there and what can come back. And then I'll train you in mindset skills on how to focus on what you can control and how to let go of other people's expectations and opinions and all that so you can stay focused. So I would love you to join that. That would be amazing. And then just touch on a personal level, what are your goals for the next few years with regards to rugby and your academics? And are you going to stay in Pretoria? Or you what, like, do you have, let's start with this year. Let's start with 2026 and we can shift.
Yeah, I think for this year, well, first thing is to recover from my injury, obviously.
Yeah.
Try
Yes.
to get back to where I was at, because I think before I got injured, I was not almost at my peak, but I was at the time where I had gotten my confidence back, and I was like, I can do this. Because one thing that I really struggled with was my confidence. So yeah, getting back to playing again. Also trying to achieve more this year, trying to play more, because last year I had little game time. So I think this year playing more, being more consistent with training, with gym as well. When my
But I think injury teaches you the importance of gym, huh?
yeah, it does. Oops, needs an eye.
And even if it's a bit boring and a bit monotonous without it, you're not going to have longevity in the game.
Mm. So I think, yeah, that's one thing I learned, is I need to be more consistent with gym. I think also one of the goals that I have this year is to be more stronger, or like gain more weight. So
As in physically or emotionally? Oh, stronger physically. Oh,
yeah. Because when I was injured, I was actually bulking. So now that I'm back to training, it's gonna be my cutting down to muscle. So yeah.
okay.
And in
Gosh.
terms of school, I'm doing my second year this year. So I think now with school, I was fine. I did well last year. So I think this year I just need to still be consistent and plan out my time properly so I can have enough time to study.
Just remind me what you're studying.
I'm studying a BA General.
Okay. And there are two things I want to say. When you talk about confidence, I posted on my Instagram a while ago, confidence is built in the process and not the result. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that is very true, because last year, I mean, obviously I was going through a lot in the beginning of the year and throughout the year as well. So I was letting all of that get to me. But then I think along the way, I realized that I have more control over myself than anyone else. I was letting people's opinions get to me, and what people were saying about me get into my head. But then I think at some point I decided to shut it out and say, you know what, this is all about me, and I'm gonna work on myself. And in the end, it did show that if you focus more on yourself, the results are gonna be beneficial for you. Yeah.
In your training, do you get any mindset skills development? So there's the difference between mental health is like your emotions, your happy, glad, sad, depression, anxiety, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then mindset is a skill. So it's like skill. So it's planning and then strategies for in performance and then post-game analysis, etc. Do you do any mental mindset training before games?
Um, I'd like to say yes and no. Like we do have a time where we like, okay, take time for yourself, take time to get ready for the game, or think about how you're gonna play in the game. And our coaches do encourage us to like get into our zone. Like there's downtime where there's a time where you guys are chatting as a team, but there's a time where you have to focus on yourself and mentally prepare yourself for the game. Like if it's a tough game where I have to be switched on, I have to be ready for anything. So I think, yeah, we do get that, but then I think it should be something that we focus more individually. and also as a team, we were like, okay, we need to get our mindset onto the right level. Like we all have to have the same mindset where when we get into the game, we're all gonna play properly. We all know what we want at the end of the game. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think it would be helpful? So I train a mindset skill called red to blue. And so you train mindset like every day in your practice so that so you do a lot of preparation. So you work out what are your distractions, what are you scared of in these scenarios, what if this happens and I feel overwhelmed, or X, Y, and Z. So you prepare a lot of what ifs so that when those scenarios happen, you know exactly how to get back into a zone of flow or a blue state where you're calm and on task and you understand your role. And then post game, it's having a look back, what worked, what could be improved upon, what was my intensity like, what was my execution like. So it's looking with not a critical, not in like a bad me. It's like these things really worked and I'm happy with that, but I can focus on that. So that's like it's an amazing skill to help you with pressure and performance. And in a team, it's a brilliant way that you can communicate better with your teammates. And if you understood about your teammates, what made them feel overwhelmed, or if they dropped a ball or threw a bad pass or tackled hard and maybe lost confidence, it's words you can use to bring them back up so that you can all get back on task. Would that be something that you'll find that you have, or I don't, it sounds like you don't have that, but would it be beneficial? Do you think it would help you?
Yeah, I think it would, because also we do get given tasks, like we get randomly assigned a teammate, and then you have to go learn about what they like, what they don't like being said to on the field, and also they learn about you as well.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, we do stuff like that where you go learn about the other teammates, or they do encourage us to talk outside of training and everything, and to socialize outside of training, because that's when you get to know people outside of the field as well. And it does help when you get into the field where you know this person doesn't like being shouted at, or this person likes being shouted at or being encouraged. So yeah.
That's brilliant. That is
Yeah.
such a an important thing to understand, is that some people's ears shut down when they're shouted at. And it's just buzz. There's no like whatever. So it's very important to understand that.
Yeah.
But I think we've had an incredible conversation. We've covered amazing topics. I will reach out to Luisa Iglesias. Her name is from Brazil, to connect you to her. We can maybe have the conversation about mentoring and like helping younger people grow and develop. But thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
If you're listening to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it would be a huge help for you to write up a small review. If you're on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well. If this episode has helped you in any way, the best way you can help us grow the show is sharing this episode with a friend. If you are in a position to sponsor a podcast or sponsor mindset coaching for a female athlete, please reach out. Stay tuned and curious for the next episode. I hope you enjoy your time on the sports field and wherever your sport may take you, and I'll chat to you again soon.